What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Opera Anna. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna. I'm an opera singer, and I am here to opera up your life. Today on ARIA Explained, we are looking at Hai già vinta la causa from Le Nozze di Figaro by Mozart. Settle in, pour yourself a cup of tea, or really whatever blows your skirt up. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at opera.anna. Buy me a coffee if you're feeling really nice today. And if you want to know why this guy is so mad, stay tuned. Hai già vinta la causa, aka the Count's aria, is a pivotal moment in the opera, at least for the Count. And we're gonna get into why. Strap in, because it is one of the most convoluted operas that you will find. Le Nozze di Figaro, or The Marriage of Figaro, was written and premiered in 1786, based off of a play by Pierre Beaumarchais by the same name in the trilogy that includes The Barber of Seville and The Guilty Mother. Le Nozze di Figaro falls right smack dab in the middle of those two plays and had been outright banned when Mozart set out to write the music to this libretto by Lorenzo da Ponte. But da Ponte, being this soon-to-be historical figure that he was, persuaded the emperor at the time to allow the opera to be presented by promising to omit the most defamatory elements. Even so, the piece remains a searing commentary on the role of society, and remains for that reason still very relevant today. Basically, the whole reason this opera starts and gets so confusing stems from the fact that you have one of the most cunning men in all of opera, Figaro, our largo al factotum, up against a man, the Count Almaviva, whom Figaro had previously helped win over his now wife in The Barber of Seville, the Countess, formerly known as Rosina. For a couple of years, these two lovebirds were happy, lovely. But now the Count has gotten bored. He doesn't want to go to the therapy sessions. And he has his sights set on basically everyone except the Countess, including the lovely Susanna, Figaro's fiancée. For this reason, he wants to reinstate prima nocta, aka the droit de seigneur, aka one of the most disgusting things that ever existed, a law that he had previously banned himself. Susanna and Figaro are set to be married on this day, which is the only way that reinstating prima nocta would be an issue. Figaro, however, the cunning largo al factotum who has an answer and a plan to everything, has a plan. He has written an anonymous letter to be delivered to the Count Almaviva via Don Basilio, slippery character that we will not talk about now because no. Warning the Count of the Countess's infidelity. Allegedly. It doesn't exist. Additionally, Cherubino, the page boy, my role, whom the Count thought that he had already sent off to the military after finding him yet again in the middle of all the drama with the ladies. Basically, anytime the Count wants to get with a girl, Cherubino is already there. Cherubino has actually gone nowhere and is hiding out in the castle on Figaro's request. He plans to hide him in plain sight, disguised as a girl, and will try to catch the Count red-handed mid-seduction with Cherubino. So anonymous letter, Cherubino dressed as a girl, foolproof. So as they're getting ready for all of this, dressing Cherubino up as a girl, the Count comes back early from his hunting trip, and they have to scramble to figure something out because now their plan is ruined. Cherubino gets locked in a closet, he jumps out a window, and they're just forced to abandon the plan altogether and come up with something new. Important side notes, Susanna and Figaro's marriage is also threatened by the fact that Figaro has debt to Marcellina, who is the former maid of Don Bartolo, who is Rosina's former ward. They are now working together in order to force Figaro's hand should he not be able to pay back the money, and if that happens, to marry Marcellina instead of Susanna. This is really great for the Count because then Susanna's hand is opened up. Maybe not her hand, but something is open. I promise he doesn't marry Marcellina because that would be incest. If you haven't seen the opera, then go see it. So now we get into Act 3, and the Countess has come up with her own plan. Because if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. Am I right, ladies? I think so. She sends Susanna in to the Count's lair, if you will, to arrange a meeting with him for later that night in the garden. The Count is obviously ecstatic, which is gross. And there's a hilarious duet that ensues between Susanna and the Count, but as Susanna is leaving, she runs into Figaro, who is understandably surprised to see her there and asks what she's doing. And in response, she says, "Taci, senza avvocato hai già vinta la causa."
Susanna, dove vai?
Taci, senza avvocato hai già vinta la causa.
Cos'è nato?
Referring to his case against Marcellina. They are basically going to force the Count's hand by catching him in the act with the Countess, but actually thinking it's Susanna, and therefore he'll have seduced his own wife, thinking that it was someone else. It's genius. Confused yet? Me too. The Count obviously hears her oversay this, and that sets off his aria, "Hai già vinta la causa." So let's watch.
Hai già vinta la causa. Cosa sento? In qual laccio io crea.
Correct. You have indeed fallen into a trap. Remember, we had a duet with Susanna and the Count just before this where she's like, "Oh no, I really am into you. Like, I was just being modest." And what I love musically is that between Susanna saying "Taci senza avvocato hai già vinto la causa" and the Count saying it, there is no orchestral interruption. It's just him standing there in however long he wants to stretch that moment before he realizes that something strange is going on.
Io voglio di tal modo punire. A piacer mio la sentenza sarà.
So the Count's first instinct is to punish, to push them down and suppress his servants, which along with the whole droit de seigneur debacle, plus the jealousy and it just makes him look like a bit of a brute, don't you think? You'll notice that until now, he hasn't actually sung with the orchestra at all. This section of the aria is what we call a recitativo accompagnato, which we've talked about before, but it's basically not straight dialogue or recitativo secco, nor is it a proper aria. It's something sort of in between that has the emotional impotence of an aria, but still plot furthering importance of a secco recitativo. So he goes to rush after them and has a thought. Right, so if you watch him, he goes to rush after them, but something holds him back. Perhaps Figaro was able to pay off Marcellina, and that's how he has vinta la causa. But then he remembers, oh wait, I don't pay him enough to do that. As we go forward, listen to how the orchestra responds to the Count's thought process, or how the Count's thought process responds to the orchestra. He just went to rush out the door, but stopped, and the orchestra started this really sort of anticipatory, pulsing motif that grows and grows and grows, which will eventually lead us into the aria. This is something that happens a lot in recitativo accompagnato, and it's something that is really fun to sort of analyze the score and figure out if the orchestra is spurring you on or if you're spurring the orchestra on. This like give and take, playful thing. Really fun.
E poi Antonio, che ha un incognito Figaro ricusa di dare una nipote in matrimonio.
Look at him thinking, working so hard. Okay, so I'm making a joke about how hard he's thinking, but this might be the smartest thing that the Count says the whole opera. He's suggesting that Antonio, the gardener of the castle and Susanna's uncle, maybe wouldn't even let her get married to Figaro, who doesn't have any parents. I mean, obviously he has parents, but he doesn't know who his parents are. But so the Count thinks that if he can actually get Antonio to enforce this sort of like, you're not getting married to that boy, who is he? Law. Then he has a way to keep her from getting married at all. And I just love the getup in this scene. He's got like really pale light makeup on that he wears the entire show to reference his sort of noble higher class status. Basilio wears it in this production. Marcellina wears it, which is a little bit weird, to be honest. Or that's just like her makeup is super over the top because she's kind of like trashy. I don't know. And the Countess, of course. And I mean, the silver suit thing. He's going to a sort of ceremony after this, which is why it's so sparkly. And the wig is so formal. And also he's got this sash going on, like, it's something.
Coltivando l'orgoglio di questo mentecato. Attacciavan raggiro.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get them for sure.
Il colpo è fatto.
We're now basically moving into the aria proper, and you'll notice that he's actually singing out more. There's more orchestra going on because now a decision is made. The motifs of the aria come in, the orchestra backs that up. Before, you notice it was very, I mean, he was singing, but it wasn't full voice aria, opera, whatever. I don't know how to better explain that, but then it wasn't full voice, but it's recitativo voice. But you're still singing. Right. I don't know. There's a sort of seamless flow from one scene into the next, from the recitativo accompagnato into the aria, which is not only the mastery of Mozart, but the mastery of Mozart in this masterpiece. Le Nozze di Figaro is considered to be one of the best crafted opera buffas of all time. Not because it's funny, yet extremely relevant in whatever time period it's set, but because the music is so beautifully crafted and suited to every character and every situation. Cheers. Oh, getting on all his bling for the ceremony. So, something that probably goes unnoticed by a lot of people because it looks like such a normal thing to do, putting on a couple of layers of clothes in a scene. It indicates time and movement in the opera. It's just sort of makes them real people. But I just like to point out that this can be ungodly difficult. I can tell you that cape that he just put on was meticulously placed before the curtain went up, and he knows exactly how to pick it up so that he immediately sees where the hole is that he needs to like place his head in to just like imagine if he didn't. It'd be like a hole. Yeah, there was a hole somewhere. Just oh shit, that was my entrance. I did a production in which I had to have a costume change in each of the arias that I had. And in one of the dress rehearsals, it went so wrong. It took me half the aria just to get the damn pants on. Anyway, just Gilfry at the height of professionalism putting on his cape. Oh my god, I love this aria so much. I want to be a baritone. Ugh. In 2 phrases, he has summarized really all of the Count's motivation in the opera. Figaro, a lowly servant, has something that the Count wants but cannot have, and in so doing, robs him of his happiness. Because it's not like he has a perfectly loving wife 10 feet away. No, boring. But the key thing being that he expects, as a higher status person, to be happy. Perhaps at the expense of his servant, but when it's the other way around, oh no. No, we can't have that. Oof. It's like what every opera singer lives for, just like, ugh. Claw happening. The baritone claw. Ooh, the eyes. Oh my god, the eyes. I swear, if I were singing across from him, I think I would my pants on a daily basis, especially as Cherubino. There is quite a bit of repetition of text going on here. Vedrò mentre io sospiro is repeated a bunch of different ways. A sforzando outburst, a piano descending line. And it shows that the Count is both, resolute and angry, but it also shows how impulsive he is based on how many times he does it. Like I said, the music is so wonderfully suited to each character that everything has a meaning, all of it. I don't think he actually knows what he's going to do yet, just that he wants to do something. And the reason I say that is because I know what's in the B section of the aria, where he has his other 2 lines of text. Just a preemptive round of applause for Gilfry here. He's got such a great presence on stage as the Count. Do not underestimate this aria. He makes it look very easy, but easy 'tis not, my friends. Think of the stamina needed for this 5-minute aria. It's not even that long. There are much longer arias out there, but shit, this is hard. The character development across the 5 minutes that needs to take place, the ability to exude confidence while putting on a cape. Together with the rest of it, there's just so many things that you can show off as a singer. Legato, Mozart legato of all things, my god. Coloratura coming up at the end, acting obviously, all in a nice little beautiful Mozart package that sounds easy as hell, but is hard as
Ah no, lasciarti in pace, non questo contento, non nascesti audace.
Non vo questo contento, he says. I do not want your happiness. The Count refers a lot to what he wants or doesn't want to motivate his rage-induced rampages. Can you have a peace-induced rampage? It reinforces his very self-centered view of the world and shows us why he makes a lot of his decisions. He goes on to say, Tu non nascesti audace, referring to Figaro. You were not born to cause me torment. To imply that because he was born into servitude, that is, ipso facto, his place, and the Count's happiness is really all that Figaro should be striving for. I've got 3 guesses for who will be first in line at the guillotine when the revolution comes. Oh, a close-up! Oh, we love a good close-up. We love a good close-up. We can see just the tiniest bit of mechanics happening here. He's got the classic sort of outward pucker of the lips, which is most evident typically on wide vowels like E and A, where the mouth wants to go out or wide, I guess. I'd be curious to hear his voice in the hall, because sometimes I feel like he pulls back so much in the sound, almost like into the mouth. It feels like the projection would suffer, but I don't know. You basically can't tell anything from a recording like this because the editing process and the balance and whatever, like, If anyone can hook me up with tickets to his next show, I'd be forever grateful. Rodney, if you see this. Hi. Also, tickets, please. Thank you, yes. It's grand gestures. It also really shows his status. It's really on a roll now. Oh yeah, we're on a roll now. Getting to the end of the aria, you start to have less time to breathe. You repeat everything you said, motifs come back. It just sort of like builds up to the whatever climactic ending. Gilfry is letting the Count get a little bit barky in these last moments, which I personally love as a character choice because he's already shown that he can sing it well. Some people might feel differently, I don't know. But it's definitely an effect that you don't want to go around throwing everywhere because it makes people think you don't actually know how to sing high or legato, but obviously, Gilfry can. And I think in this instance, it reinforces the Count's character.
I don't trust men in capes.
He's an impulsive, barky, brutal type of person that needs these sort of sforzando reactionary phrases. Look at that pucker. I told you. Look at his mouth. It doesn't... Coloratura. Oh, the cape. Oh, we love a good pose at the end. So at the end, he says already the hope of enacting my revenge. He doesn't have a plan, just hope. Like I said, coloratura, those triplets were gorgeous. Yes, awesome. It sounds like he's laughing, which is the intended effect. Too bad there's not a real trill in there somewhere. Ugh, I'll let it slide. If you ever need a lesson, Gilfry, I can hook you up. I know how to trill. Just saying. The only places where I saw his technique sort of show on his face was at the end of that coloratura line, where he has to jump an octave or something after those triplets down, and then the fa on the e jubilar mi fa. It got a little Bartoli, where whenever she does coloratura, she's like, but she's like the best singer alive right now, so like whatever. The pose at the end, 10 out of 10, my favorite part. No notes. Thank you, Rodney. See you tomorrow. It's so ridiculous and over the top. A perfect, if not slightly random end to this aria. Bravo. Bravo. Standing ovation. Bravo. Hai già vinto la causa, sung by Rodney Gilfry in 1993, conducted by Sir John Eliot Gardiner. I will link the full production in the description box. It is my absolute favorite, hands down favorite version of this opera, and it's in full Italian subtitles, okay, for you to see online. Please go watch it. It is just the pinnacle of everything. If you don't love opera after it, then like I can't really help you. Sorry, but I can't. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you learned something. I hope you had fun. I know I did. And I'll see you next time for another Aria Explained. Have a wonderful Sunday, everybody. Addio.
Addio, addio, sperando.